Hi, welcome to this Chinese/Asian episode. I love all things international, so from time to time I'm going to do an international inspired episode. This one is Chinese inspired. I probably am not doing the recipes exactly as they would in China, but I love the flavor profiles. So the first thing is we're going to do a smoky tea egg. Now in China, from what I understand, they actually use a special tea that has like a smoky taste to it, but it's really hard to get. And I have an egg allergy, so this one is for all of you who can eat eggs, and I'm making this for my husband. There's two parts to this. What we're going to do is do a hard-boiled egg in a special solution, and then we're going to put it in an ice bath so it stops cooking, and then we're going to put it back in that cooled special sauce, so to speak. So the first thing I'm doing, I'm just going to do 3 eggs to give this a try, but so certainly you could double or triple this recipe. This is 1 cup of plain water, and I'm putting 2 organic black tea bags in this, a half of a teaspoon of regular granulated sugar, and then about 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and I am using, it's a little lighter, it's coconut aminos. It has the soy sauce taste, but it's just slightly less sodium. And then because I don't have access to the special Chinese tea, I am going to use just a touch of liquid smoke. That's going to give it a little bit of that smoke taste. But it's very strong, so I caution you to just use a little. So what you'll want to do is get this completely boiling, and then I'm just going to put in 3 eggs. I'm going to cook it for about 7 minutes, and then I have this bath ready to go. It's got ice cubes and water. I'll then immediately put the eggs in there so they stop cooking. When everything is cooled off, I'm going to take the peel off the eggs and put it back into this mixture here. I'll show you. I'll see you back when the eggs are done. So the eggs cooked for specifically 7 minutes. My husband really likes it to be soft boiled, so we're hoping that it turns out. You never know until you cut it. But the eggs immediately cooled in the ice bath, and then I put it back in this smoky tea broth, and they look beautiful. Now, the directions say the longer you keep the eggs in there, obviously the more flavor is going to impart into the eggs. But I'm going to go ahead and have my husband try one now, and he's going to give his honest opinion on if it's too salty, if it's weird. Certainly give this a try. It looks beautiful. This would be really cute for like a luncheon or something, or take them out of the hard-boiled sauce and take them to work with you. So I'm going to get his opinion.
It's really good.
It is? Mm-hmm. Is it too salty, you think?
It's perfect.
Wow, you're eating the second half of it. Okay, that's a good sign.
Really good.
So later in this Chinese episode, I have crab Rangoon, and I also have Moo Goo Gai Pan. So don't miss that. I'll see you up next. For lunch today, part of the Asian episode, we are having hot and sour soup. So the first thing we're going to do is I use unsalted, a whole container or 4 cups of vegetable stock or broth. Okay. And I'm using the cocoa amino for the soy sauce. You could just use reduced sodium soy sauce. This is going to be 2 tablespoons. And this looks like, I think it's going to be enough soup for 2 people. You might get more, I'm not sure. Okay. And I have selected shiitake mushrooms. These are just drained and rinsed. And this was a whole 8-ounce container. I don't usually use shiitake, but I thought keeping with, you know, kind of an Asian flair, it might be a little better than just regular portobellos. We're also using 3 tablespoons of, I have seasoned rice wine vinegar, but I recommend that you just use rice wine vinegar. I just didn't have any unseasoned. And that's 3 tablespoons. 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. 1 container of bamboo shoots, drained and rinsed. If you don't have this, you could also use water chestnuts. And now it's starting to bulk up. I'm almost thinking you could get maybe 3 or 4 servings out of it. And now if you have a garlic chili paste, go ahead and use that. I don't have any, so I'm just going to use the equivalent to a 1/2 tablespoon of garlic. And I have this sambal olik, the chili paste, so I'm just going to use a little bit of that. When they say hot and sour, they don't necessarily mean temperature. They mean a little bit of spice. So the last thing I'm going to put in here, before I forgot to mention there's also tofu, but I'll show you that in a minute. The last thing is a thickener. This is 3 tablespoons of tap water, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and 1 tablespoon of egg whites. And then you just want to make sure it's mixed together really well. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till this comes to a boil. And then this is going to thicken it up. Now if you think that it's starting to get too thick, you could add a little bit of water, or if you want to try to stretch it out where more people, you could put maybe a cup or 2 of water in this. It will reduce the taste a little. You know, it'll make it not as strong. It has a really nice strong taste, so obviously if you dilute it, it's not going to be as good. But after this comes to a boil, then I'm going to put the cornstarch mixture in kind of at the last minute to thicken it up. The only other ingredient I wanted to mention is tofu. Do not be afraid of tofu. You don't have to have one of these, but I actually I've had it in a press. I just cut the tofu in half. This is about 4 to 6 ounces of tofu. But it's a press and it gets all the water out of it. So then what I'm going to do before I put it in the soup, I'm going to put it on a skillet and just brown it a little so that when you put it in the soup in cubes, it actually has like a little bit of texture. Now the thing with tofu, it really doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it does have a lot of good health benefits, a lot of protein, a lot of nutrients. So it's good, but it'll take on the flavor of whatever you put it in. So if you don't have one of these, you could also use a skillet. Put it over a pan and just press down with a skillet, or put some kind of a dish rag and some books. But this is the first time I'm using this press, and it's really been getting a lot of water out. If you get the water out, that's just what makes it crispy. You could also bake it in the oven. So I'm going to finish the tofu up, finish the soup, let it come to a boil, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so the hot and sour soup is finished. I did add 2 cups of water to it. I wanted to have 4 servings of it. So it is beautiful, and the aroma, you smell the mushrooms, you smell the bamboo shoots. Very wonderful taste. Even though I added 2 cups of water, it didn't compromise the taste at all. And now we can enjoy 4 cups. I am going to show you how I finish this off. Really nice flavor, and it does have a little heat, so you'll just have to decide how much heat you want to have in it. And I'm just going to take my kitchen scissors. Beautiful bowl of hot and sour soup. Give it a try. So I love crab rangoon. Normally it's fried. I don't fry anything. I don't have a fryer. This would be a really good recipe to pull out your air fryer. I have one. I already have my oven on, so I'm just going to bake these. And I'm using regular, they were out of wonton wrappers. So I'm going to see how egg roll wrappers, how that does. They're long sheets, and I just cut them into squares, rectangles. And we're gonna see how this works. So here's what those egg roll wrappers look like. I'm starting off with 1 8-ounce room temperature cream cheese. Now I'm trying to make these really light, so I'm opting for fat-free. Certainly you could use full fat. You could use a third less fat. And I'm using 8 ounces of, I am using imitation crab. Actually does have fish in it, so it's not completely cheating. But this is 8 ounces of imitation crab meat. I do rinse it in the container, and then I drain it. We're going to put just a little bit of garlic, maybe 1/4 of a tablespoon. You want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Then I'm also going to put 1 tablespoon of reduced sodium soy sauce. And you want to have a little container of regular water, because this is how we're going to seal the edges on the crab rangoon. This should be enough for at least 24, but we'll see. And this is what the egg roll wrappers look like. And the crab was just in a container like that. So get this all incorporated. Then get you like a teaspoon or just a small spoon. I'm just gonna show you, but we're gonna be putting this on a waxed lined paper baking dish, like a cookie sheet. So I'm just going to take a little scoop, put it in the middle, maybe about a tablespoon's worth. And then this is where you're going to use the water. Kind of run it around the edges. Use another sheet, and then just kind of seal it. Pinch it up. And you can also make these, I actually might cut these again and make them in triangles. Yeah, this one looks more like ravioli. So let's try this one. Yeah, I think I like the triangles better. And the crab rangoon is all finished. It went for about 6 minutes, and then I did wind up flipping it. And here's what it looks like. Now, something I think I'm gonna do, because again, you just cut the wonton wrappers however you want them. I think some of the ones where the hard ends, I'm just gonna use kitchen scissors, and I'm gonna cut the ends off. Now, something I recommend serving with this to make it authentic is duck sauce. Just put this in a little bowl and dip these in it. So tonight, for tonight's Chinese dinner, we're having Moo Goo Gai Pan. Now you can use any meat that you like. I recommend, we're trying to do things lighter, so I recommend that you use whatever lean meat that you like. This is really good with pork. This I'm sure would be really good with a lean beef, more like a steak. So this has a lot of vegetables. What we're going to use, this is bok choy. If you're not familiar with it, it doesn't really have that much of a flavor, but it's a powerhouse with nutrients. And it looks like this, and it comes in like a stalk. We're going to just use one large bunch of it. And there's what it looks like. So that's the first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and we're going to saute the vegetables. You could use a wok. I have something, this pan is really big. It kind of mimics a wok. So I'm going to get that reduced down. And then we've got about 8 ounces of chopped up. You can use any kind of mushroom. Portobello works well. You could even use shiitake to kind of give it that Asian flair. And along with the vegetables, I am putting in a pound of chopped up organic chicken. Boneless, skinless chicken breast. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, look how much that bok choy has reduced down. And this, I'm going to try to get between 4 and 6 servings out of this. So now that the chicken is thoroughly cooked and the bok choy has wilted down, now we can go over and create the lovely Moo Goo Gai Pan sauce. So try to find a non-GMO cornstarch. We're going to start with 1 tablespoon of that. And just get you a little container. This is going to thicken it up. And then we're going to use 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. 2 tablespoons of any reduced sodium soy sauce. Something else we're going to put in our sauce. You would use 3 garlic cloves, but I'm cheating. I'm actually going to use the squeeze, about 2 tablespoons. And then you could use fresh ginger, about an inch and a half knob. I am going to cheat with that too and use about a tablespoon. And then I'd recommend using a little water. You just want this to be kind of runny because it will thicken up and it'll give you more sauce if you add just a touch, about a tablespoon of water. And then you want to just stir this up because the cornstarch is going to be at the bottom. Make sure you get all that incorporated so it turns into like a gravy. Now you could add Asian peppers to make it really spicy. I'm just going to put a bunch of red pepper flakes in. But at this point you could put those really hot red peppers in if you dare. So if you look at the consistency of this, it's turning into almost like a gravy already. Now one last thing that's optional is I have some sliced up green onions. I'm going to put that on. I'm going to go ahead and put those red peppers in. I like it kind of spicy, so I'm going to put a lot. Okay, and then just add your gravy. Give it a nice stir. Make sure you get everything coated. So you can see it's kind of like a gravy coating. One thing I wanted to mention, you want to serve this with either cauliflower. Trader Joe's has a really nice cauliflower stir fry if you're watching your carbs. There's also the rice that you could cook that's in a little pouch for 90 seconds. That's already cooked. That's what this is. You also could do minute rice in the microwave, brown rice. I actually do a combination of both. I either do all minute rice with a little cauliflower rice, but what I do is I take this regular rice and I mix a little cauliflower rice to kind of bulk it up, and that's what I'm going to do in this case. I'm going to give each portion, I think I can get about 6 portions out of it. So Thank you for watching this Chinese edition. Have some fun with your international cuisine. Let me know what you've tried, what Chinese dishes you like. And thanks. Have a good week. Thanks for tuning in.